So as soon as you go in, you gotta let them know that you ain't snitching. If you snitching, they're gonna say, get him off of this. If he in your car, get him off the yard, make him check in. You gotta check in, you gotta go to a minimum count where you gotta go where the homosexuals and the snitches at.
For him being, and mind you, he's 19 at this time. As far as he was released on bond, so he was at home this whole time for this past year. Of course, once the guilty verdict hits, he didn't expect the guilty verdict, I think, to go down the day he thought his attorney had more to kind of fight for. Mm-hmm. But they put him in handcuffs immediately and said, now this is your life. The rules have changed now. When you were in there, all prisons have different, setups and the way they kind of run things. But for a 19-year-old kid, and I met the kid one time, and he's a good kid. Mm-hmm. Plays football, goes home, play Madden, talk to his friends on Fortnite. Just a good kid. Of course, he's from Louisiana, so I guess in his life or in his times, he's like, I should carry a knife to defend myself. But overall, a good kid, not part of no gangs and nothing like that. How will he have to adjust to prison? From your experience or even from others that you saw coming in at 19 who is technically not of the street world, how do they adjust?
Man, when I first went to the detention center, I thought they was gonna let me out. I stayed a couple days. And I realized that was my reality. I started boo-hooing like a baby. I said I was a baby, I was 14. I said, man, why these people got me here? I ain't do nothing, you know what I'm saying? And within a week, reality hit me in the face. You know what I'm saying? Niggas jelly, niggas playing domino, niggas playing spades, niggas eat prison food. You be like, I ain't gonna eat that shit. You start eating the food, you start playing dominoes, people start telling you their war story, you start telling your war story, then eventually you get into the system. You know what I'm saying? The body, it's 3 levels of intelligence. One is IQ, right? IQ is intelligence quotient. EQ is emotional quotient, and AQ is adaptability quotient. Most human beings can adapt to anything. You know what I'm saying? Based on their adaptability quotient, intelligence. So your intelligence, your natural adaptability quotient would come into play. You will start doing your bit. But initially, you're gonna be resistant. You're gonna think that, that it's a pathway out. But once you realize that, and they call it conditions response, right? Give you an example of condition response, a guy named Pavlov, right? Pavlov, he did a theory on this dog. So what he did was he would feed his dog every day at a certain time. And when he feed the dog, he would ring this bell. You know what I'm saying? And so when he ring the bell, the dog would run out and look for food. So one day he ring the bell and there was no food, and the dog started saliving, and he was looking for the food because he was conditioned. Elephant, he was in this circus, ton. They put a chain and ball on his feet. Every day the elephant would jerk the chain. After about a good year, they put a rope on it. He pushed the rope. The rope would feel like the chain. So one day, it was a fire and the tent burned down. All the elephant had to do was rush. But because he was conditioned, and programmed to believe that this was a chain, and the chain got on his brain, that the elephant died, and that's the same thing with the human brain. Once you realize that this is your condition and this is where you're gonna be, and this is your reality, you do that time. You know what I'm saying? And you can either you can do hard time, or you give somebody and say, man, this is how you do time, or it can be smooth, and you can try to go in that law library and figure out a way out, pathway out.
Yeah, again, the fact that he wasn't sitting in jail this whole time, that he was free, again, as a kid, technically, he has to now adjust to prison life.
He will adjust.
How long do you think normally does it take to adjust? Like you said, sometimes it's that first, domino game. It's that watching that movie.
It takes about a week, and then what you do is, it's called the mob effect. The mob effect is that when they first tell you they ring your door, you looking around, and you wonder why they got this door open. And then you see people walking out and they head to the chow hall. Or you see people working out, going to the gym. Then you just start following the people. After a while, it dawns on you that this bell mean get up and go eat. This bell mean go to the gym. This bell mean go to work. You know what I'm saying? And then you start adopting, and you realize that, you know, it's other people in here that got just as much time or less time than you, and they jealous. So you start immediately adapting to your situation. It's called adaptability quotient. You're going to adapt. You know, people do it all the time.
What type of prison does one go to when he is in there for murder? Again, it was self-defense, no matter what he's guilty.
Well, because of his age, you know what I'm saying, they can throw him in the lion's den and put him in there with the gangbangers and all that stuff and consider him a hardened criminal. Or, you know, the system can have some sympathy on him and say, well, you know, it was self-defense. He's not a typical murderer. It wasn't like it was premeditated. So they'll probably put him in a lesser camp. But you know what I'm saying? If the guards want to be an asshole, they can put him straight in there in what we call funk school, where he got to go for what he know. You know what I'm saying? And you're either gonna join the Muslims, you're gonna join the Christians, you're gonna join the Bloods, the Crips, the GD, the Vice. You got to join somebody. You cannot make it in prison what we call a neutron. That's what they call them.
How does that work when you were none of that in the free world, and now you're into this world to where there are sections and you got to join some type of tribe, I guess you could say.
Man, I seen white boys looking like Urkel with glasses on, gang goofy, coming at motherfucker, man. And after that, while they give them Aryan Brotherhood, them Hitler niggas, them motherfucking swastika-ass motherfuckers, them same white boys, you see them walk around, they got a chest, they got knives and shit, and they adapt to the prison culture. You know, prison is a culture. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to either join something or you're going to be ran over. And numbers is in strength. After a while, you figure out that I had no other choice. You got white guys who are not racist are claiming that they are Nazis and they're skinheads because they know that's the only way they can survive in the prison. You got brothers who are born Christians, who were raised in the church, you know what I'm saying, me practicing Islam and practicing it well. Because, you know what I'm saying, the prison, you know, forced them. You got brothers who gangbanging now, who never gangbanged in their life. They're doing some serious gangbanging because they in the prison system. So, you know what I'm saying, you have really no choice. Especially in the feds, they call cars. Like in the feds, you got to be a Texas car or Atlanta car or Milwaukee car. You got to get an A car. No if you got to check in your paperwork too. So as soon as you go in, you got to let them know that you ain't snitching. If you snitching, they're going to say, get him off of this. If he in your car, get him off the yard, make him check in. You got to check in, you got to go to a minimum account where you got to go where the homosexuals and the snitches at.
Yeah.